Okay, welcome to Speech Talk Live. This is episode number 49. My name is Jay Oza. I am the host of the show, and my co-host is Julie Vu Finkelstein. And both Julie and I are mentors for the Coursera public speaking course, and we've been doing this now for more than a year. And our purpose for doing the show, as we always say, is five things. One is Julie and I both like to learn. We're kind of the eternal student of public speaking. Second is we'd like to teach based on some of the things that we're learning. The third thing, we like to coach people who have to give a speech, a real life speech in front of an audience, whether it's audience, an interview, or whatever. A speech is a speech, depending on whether you're speaking to one person, a small group, or a large audience. The fourth thing is we also like to get better at this, so we also record a lot of speeches and practice. And the fifth one is the most important. This is a way for us to support others who also want to give a excellent speech and whenever they have an opportunity. So that's why we do this show, and it's our way of helping the Coursera student community, because it's hard to answer all the posts. This is sort of our way to bring up some topics that we think are important, and then people can view it. And we post this on the Coursera discussion forum for people all around the world to take a look at. And all the people who are watching this, thank you for all your feedback and comments. We really appreciate it. So today we have three segments, and we have a very special guest, Catherine Cooper, who will be participating in the first segment, which is going to be a workshop. Catherine has a speech to give in front of a large audience in some marketing research association out northwest somewhere, Seattle probably. And we're going to kind of use Catherine as a way to kind of coach her, getting her ready for this speech. And I think this is important because a lot of people who give speeches just don't do this. And I think this is going to really help Catherine, and it's also going to help all of you who are watching it, that this is what you're going to have to go through if you're giving a speech in front of a large audience. The second segment will be a continuation of Julie's series on the exercise hacks that she's been working on. And this is sort of like the companion video that she's going to have for the book that she's writing. And this is the 11th hack, and it's a plow pose that she's going to. She has a video, a talk. She does a talk and also a demo. So we'll discuss that. And then the third one is more like a something that kind of I got an idea from Catherine, because she mentioned something about the presentation structure. So I put together a short video to help people that this is what I do when I'm first starting to think about a speech, and I use the two common structures that I use, the Aristotle structure and the Watt structure. So that's what that video is, and we'll have a discussion on that. So that's the show at this point. I'd like Julie and Catherine to do a quick intro, and then we'll take a brief pause and dig right into the first segment. So Julie, why don't you introduce yourself, and then Catherine can do a quick intro, and then we'll get started, okay?
Good morning, Jay. Thank you, and welcome, Catherine. Julie Wu Finkelstein here. I have backgrounds in systems work, business, and also body-mind consciousness. Today, my basic goal is to help people be happy by being successful, and there's a bunch of body-mind related skills that can apply to any sphere that I'm slowly developing. I'm doing the stretches. Those are the 12 stretches that comes to me through my teacher, Everett Ogawa, and it is a synthesis of the East and the West, the streams of becoming through Ida Rove, Moshe Feldenkrais, and the body-mind people. I can't even think of their names. And then in the Eastern tradition, there's the Qigong, the Tai Chi, and the Zen, and the martial arts, particularly in the Zen tradition. So these stretches are very simple. They're called Yin Yoga stretches, and I hope to share more with you in the segment. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Julie. Catherine, do you want to do a quick intro, and then we can go more into it when we do your segment, okay?
Okay, Catherine Cooper. I live in the Bay Area in California. I've been a qualitative market researcher for a number of years and have decided since the fall, when I launched my last child off to college, that I wanted to become a public speaker. So I am giving a speech coming up in June 2nd in Portland at a convention on marketing research. And I want to share what I've learned, and I have no idea what I'm doing. And luckily, I found the Coursera course and have found Jay and Julie, and I'm hoping that I can fulfill my dream and become a public speaker. Thank you.
Yeah, you will. All right, so that's excellent. So, Catherine, I'm going to take a brief pause and then introduce the first segment, okay? Okay, welcome back. This is Speech Talk Live, episode 49. My name is Jay Oza. I'm the host of the show, and my co-host is Julie Vu Finkelstein. And in this first segment, we're very lucky to have a special guest. Her name is Catherine Cooper. And Catherine is volunteered for this workshop segment that we're going to do. And Catherine is also a Coursera student, and she has she's kind of wants to become a speaker, and she has volunteered to give a speech at this association called the Northwest Marketing Research Association. And she's got a lot of experience, and I'll have her go a little bit more into her background when I turn it over to her. And in this, what we're going to try to focus on today is we asked her to record a 3-minute video to kind of give us an idea. In 3 minutes, you can tell a lot on whether you're interested in a speech or not interested in a speech. So I didn't want her to like kind of boil the ocean way of working on the speech. I just wanted to get her to the main part. Like if you can't get somebody excited in, well, actually less than 3 minutes, but let's say 3 minutes is enough. If somebody's interested in your topic in 3 minutes, if you can't get that person excited, then 45 minutes or 1 hour isn't going to make any more difference. In fact, it could actually hurt you more. So we asked her to record a 3-minute speech as sort of like a networking event. Julie and I are both at a networking same event, and we started talking to Catherine, and her job was to get her excited and make us attend her speech. So that's what she's recorded. And at this point, what I'll do is I will turn it over to Catherine to give us a little bit more about her background so we get to know her more, so we can give her some feedback. But I'll let her kind of drive this entire process because it's her speech, and I want her to kind of come to us and saying, okay, did you get the message? What are some of the things? Kind of give us an idea what her thinking process is, and how did she actually get into the position of giving the speech. So if a little background would kind of help us understand it better, and maybe even more about the content of the speech. So Catherine, why don't you kind of give us a little bit more about your background in the research that you do, and your relationship with this organization. How did it come about that you got invited to give the speech? So at this point, I'll turn it over to you to kind of drive the process here. Okay?
Okay. Well, academically, I have a master's degree from the A.C. Nielsen Center for Market Research. And I started my career, I was in quantitative research, trying to figure out how to get people to buy more gold medal flour, basically. And I didn't really like working with numbers, so many years ago I started my own consulting business so I could get out and talk to consumers. So I've spent 25 years or so doing focus groups and in-depth interviews and interviewing people, trying to figure out how they make decisions so that I could go back to my clients who were paying for my time to tell them what they needed to do to be able to sell more, frankly. And in this process, I noticed that in doing focus groups, I wasn't getting very good information. People were polite, they were charming and all that, but I didn't get very deep, and I wanted to get deep. So probably 20 years ago, I started specializing in in-depth interviewing and interviewing people, not unlike a psychologist would interview people, and you're trying to find out what's driving things. So I would say in the past 10 years, I read a lot. I read a lot about decision making, and I'm a fan of Dan Ariely, as I guess you are as well. and Daniel Kahneman, Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow. I mean, I could name all the different authors that have influenced my thinking. And so I read a lot, and I take this and incorporate it in my interviews. And when I analyze my interviews, I analyze them with kind of an umbrella of behavioral economics, an umbrella of what I know about people and how they make decisions. And so I love what I do, and I am 64 years old, so I really don't have to work. I live very comfortably, but intellectually I want to stay very stimulated. So I decided, what can I do with my time now? I have all this experience. So I thought that I would open the eyes of people that are in the trenches of market research and share with them some of the things that I've learned that I've incorporated into my work that are effective. And quite frankly, the reason I'm speaking at this group is because they put out an RFP to have speakers speak. So I'm desperate to find places to speak. So I answered the RFP without really knowing how to speak. I just wrote something about what I'm interested in. And I centered it on metaphor elicitation, which is which has been around for over 20 years. There's a company out of, I think it's Pittsburgh, that Zaltman. Do you know Zaltman? Okay, Zaltman, his work, metaphor, marketing metaphors. He wrote the book. So they do consulting work. They charge an arm and a leg, to have, give insights to people, and they're, really well positioned to do this. Well, I've been doing this as well, and I'm not into needing to, start a bit, have all the glamour around being able to charge big prices. So I just want to share the information, because I think that people could apply this to their work. Also, Forbes Consulting, they use essentially metaphor elicitation. I'll probably get sued here if I'm on, but anyway, I talked to them, and to run a study, they charged $250,000, like for one basic question. And so I kind of think, well, if people really knew the basis of why this is good research, they can apply these principles to their own studies and get better results. And in my marketing research training under Gilbert Churchill at University of Wisconsin-Madison, two of the things that were very important to researchers are validity, are you measuring what you want to measure, and reliability. And so I'm not so concerned about reliability, because oftentimes my work is not statistically projectable, but it develops insights into patterns and ways people are thinking. But the validity is really important to me. And after having gotten results from focus groups where the validity was really bad, and I gave reports and I gave recommendations based upon that surfacey kind of input, I have been on a mission to get better validity. And by doing in-depth interviews and using various techniques, such as metaphor elicitation, I feel like I'm getting into the hearts and soul of people. And if 95% of your decision making is unconscious, how can we possibly expect people in a focus group to give us why they did what they did, or why they're going to do what they're going to do? I mean, they'll give you an answer. They're very polite and they're very nice. They're not evil, but they have no access to that, what's really driving their behavior. So when I do my in-depth interviews, I can keep digging and digging and digging. And I mean, I have people leave my interviews and I pay them. They don't pay me, but they feel like they know more about themselves because I help open up, why they're doing what they're doing. But I have no interest in being a psychologist. I just, want to do market research. Is that sufficient?
Yeah. Oh, I'm hearing the feedback. You're going to have to mute your line. You're going to have to mute your line. Okay, good. No, that was excellent, Catherine. You gave us a pretty good overview on your background, and so you're very passionate about this particular topic. I have a few questions. This is now related to. First question is, for this particular audience, I think you told us that these are all going to be market researchers. So they basically, their thing is they want to do the research in the market so that whatever customers that they're working for can somehow leverage that information and target the market in a way that helps them sell. That seems to be the main. That's what these people do. That they need to get that information, and you have a unique way of extracting that information using this methodology that's commonly, or a concept called metaphor elicitation, which you feel is much more effective in getting into the minds of people on exactly how they're thinking. And the way that works is that we think in terms of metaphors, and that's why I think you've titled your speech "A Picture is Worth 1,000 Words." So my first question to you is, and remember one thing, we understand marketing, but we're not marketing research professionals. So some of these questions actually will probably help you, because one of the things is that I've observed is that when you give a speech, you want to be a couple of levels below the audience, not to the point of dumbing it down, but the main thing is that there's so much information you're going to be giving out even in a 45-minute talk that at the end they may process very little. So this session, we just wanted to focus on the main message, because if you don't have the message right, then the whole speech essentially is lots of words, but it won't achieve your objective. So the first question I have, well, two questions. The first one is, what is the main message that you want to get across to the people that are going to be at this, who are going to be attending your speech? And roughly how many people do you think will actually be attending your speech? And the second question is, so that's very audience specific, right? It's not how they want to, your objective is to make them smarter, right? Because you're already knowledgeable. You've been doing this for 25 years. So the first question is, what is the main message that you want to convey to them? And the second question is more on you, like what is your overall objective? Like you mentioned, one is that you want to be known as a thought leader, and possibly this would lead to more speaking gigs where you can take what you have done and go to different places and talk about this particular area that you have so much experience in. So I'll let you answer those two questions. Then I'll also have Julie enter into the discussion. So you want to take a stab at those two questions, Catherine, before we...
Okay. In terms of number, I'm imagining about 125 people. I'm not, or 75 people. I'm not expecting a lot. My main message. My main message really is, I don't know if these people know so much about Daniel Kahneman's work and the unconscious. And there's no way for me to know before I go up there, how far along the spectrum they are. I read voraciously, on all this topic. I just don't know how far along the spectrum they are. But I want them to know that a lot of times they're asking questions and they're getting answers, and they're not going to be that valid. And so I want them to have a thorough understanding of Kahneman's work, if you would. That people think only 5% of their mind is conscious. Should I mute now?
Yeah. Just a quick question. What is these are market research. They're there for a specific purpose. You're right. They may not know who Kahneman is, Daniel Kahneman, the Nobel laureate, and his work. I mean, I know his work. A lot of people know it. But forget that part. That's Daniel Kahneman to these people may not mean much. What means to them is that you have some unique insight that they are going to say, wow, I better pay attention to this because this can help me in what I'm doing. And that's the question that they're probably asking if they're attending your event, your talk, that, hey, wait a second, Catherine's got something that's going to help me become a better market researcher, possibly get me promoted, and who knows, maybe get a big raise. And that's the question that they're asking. How does this help me become a better market researcher? So what I'm trying to get to is more looking at the audience, that let's say, Julie, you're in the audience and you're one of the market researcher. The question that you would probably be asking is, how is this going to help me become a better market researcher? And that's the question that I would think that you would want that message to convey, that what I'm telling you is going to make you a better... not in those words, but that's what the audience probably wants to know. They're not just there to know about all the people who have done research in that. That's something that you know. So that's what I was trying to get to.
Okay, so I'll speak to Julie then. You are a market researcher, and you want to know why you should stay in my talk, or at least not tune out and go on your phone. I want to give you a tool that is visually oriented, that will give you access to the unconscious mind. And you don't have to have an MRI machine, and to be able to find out what people are really doing. I want to first make sure that they're aware that people don't have access to their brain, their decision making. And so by asking them straight on questions, you're going to get an answer, but it may not be the right answer. So I don't even know if they know that. So I wanted them to know that they may not be getting the full picture. And I think that by giving them a tool, maybe that would be the way, another tool to access the unconscious that's cheap, if you understand the principles.
Julie, go ahead. You have a, so
Yeah.
Julie, you're in the audience now. So far, what is it?
Yeah. So before I do that, I just want to give you my own feedback very quickly, and then I'll carry this message, because it'll give it a context. First of all, kudos to you, because one thing I know is there are very few top drawer public speakers who are women. So I think that is really wonderful you're penetrating that field. So anything I can do to support you. You're speaking to the choir in a sense, because I was a psych major. And I did a lot of work in systems, and of course my 2 or 3 decades of Zen work is all about tapping the unconscious. And also, just so you know, I participated in many market researches, and I understand exactly what you mean. People say why they like something or why they don't like something, or if you give them a choice, A, B, or C, they'll pick C. But really, the real answer is X, Y, Z. So I think what you're doing is charting new territories. And I think what you're doing, there's a great emergence of trends that the neurosciences that you talk about, you use the word mindfulness. I will use a different word like attentiveness or awareness. And I can go into differences, offline if you like. And what you said was I got what you said, that people don't know what they're doing. Market research isn't getting the right data. And so they're getting bullshit. And so people are spending, not only that, people are spending lots of money to get the wrong answers. And what you have found is there is an emergent edge of people who spend $250,000 for one simple question. And what you're saying is they can do it for themselves. You're giving them the power to do better in their lives, in their decision making. That's the message I got. And the metaphor elicitation is just one of the tools that you're talking about. So, did I get you right?
Yes.
Okay. So can I give you some feedback in terms of so far? First of all, when we look at public speaking, there's pathos and ethos. Okay. Actually, the first thing you need to do, that's a connection and the credibility. Before they even get your message, they have to like you, and then they think you have valid information. So I think your own personal story has a lot of pathos, a connectability. You spent decades in quantitative research. You realize that 90% of the human brain is not accessible to humans. And that you have used many, many tools to get deeper. And at the end, the connection is so deep that people know more about themselves than before you talk to them. And so that's gratifying for you. It gratifies you because not only do people sell better, they sell truer. They sell to what people really, really need. So then it's not just a question of money making, but authenticity, connecting to people's real needs. And I think that's where you're coming from. I'm putting a little bit of words into your mouth. So that's your connection. Your connection is not just to the people who want to make money. Your connection is to connecting to authentic needs of the people in the world, because you give them tools to access 90% of their brain. Okay, the visual cognitive thing then comes, and then the next thing is so first you tell your story, make yourself a human being, make yourself connected some way to these people and to their people, because they have to sell. They don't make money until they make a connection to the people they're selling to. So what you have demonstrated to me is not only are you connecting to the people who are in the audience, you're connecting to the people that they need to connect to, and that's your power.
Oh.
That's your power. That's your ace in the hole. Okay? So you need to get all that shit out there, right? Excuse my language, but when I get into this position.
Yeah, Julie's from New York, so.
No, I grew up in Canada, but I was in IT. And so the only way for a little Chinese girl to be heard in IT is to use a swear word, because it opens up the door. So that creates the ethos and the pathos, okay? And then you can deliver your message. And I think you don't need to say to them, I can do it cheaper. I think your message is, you're going to have to pay me, but I'm available. Call me. You know, I think you have two audiences. There's the people like me who can really use your message to become whatever service I do. Let's say I want to be a success engineer. Let's say I coined this term. Your methods will help me to reach out to my audience. Those are the people you can do a mass program, like an open source program. Each of us can pay you a little bit money, but you can make a lot because there's a lot of us out there. But there's another audience, you can charge big bucks. And why not? Go for it. So I would say your message to these people is, there are people there who can do it for $250,000 a question, but I can train you for $250,000. I can train you in the methodology. I'm your consultant. I'm your coach. I'm going to bring your first. I'm going to be your mentor to develop this methodology. And why not charge them $250,000 to transfer the skill? They'll pay it. They might not pay $250,000, but they'll pay $50,000 for a 6-month retainer, easy.
Right, Julie.
So that's my message. It's a little bit. It wasn't what I intended to deliver, but.
Yeah, Catherine, do you have any comments for Julie? Because I have some suggestions.
Well, I just love everything she said. I never thought of the perspective is just so refreshing, and I'm going to go back online and listen to what she said again. I'm glad this is going to be recorded, because I want to hear it again, what she told me. I'm not really feeling like I have enough energy to really build a consulting business at this point. Maybe somebody will hire me, but I really don't want to work that much. So, I am 64, but anyway, who knows? Maybe I'll get energized and want to, take on those consulting gigs. But I would like to take this message to farmers in Nebraska, that, accessing this part of life. Anyway, that's another.
Yeah, I think that was just. I think one of the thing. I think this is what you said you would like to do, is that you already would like to go and just educate people. I mean, there are a lot of people out there who want someone like you to come in and talk about this type of topic, and then they could just kind of hire you, like kind of what we're doing on a video. You can provide that type of like. Because before they spend $250,000, they may say, hey, Catherine, can you kind of guide us so we're on the right track, so we're not getting ripped off? I think those kind of opportunities, that would kind of be exciting for you. But most of the time, you can just go and give a speech maybe once every 2 weeks, once a week. It's up to you based on how you feel about it. And that I think is fun stuff. A lot of people would do that after they've gotten a lot of experience. The one suggestion that I have is regarding your speech is, you have a lot of experience, and if you can come up with certain things from your experience, like here's how it was before, and here is how it was after working with you, and here's what happened afterwards. If you have it, that could be one type of a format, because if I'm in the audience, so basically the presentation structure would be, this is what I'm talking about, and then it's, you probably heard of this, so there's what, there is so what, and now what, right? So let's say if I'm in the audience and I hear about this, like, yeah, this is good. There are people that are going to be skeptical, right? So you have to kind of answer some of those objections while they are listening to you. But the thing that really would resonate with me is, okay, so you have all this experience. Can you dig into it and give me some 3 case studies briefly about what the situation was, how you worked with them, and then after, what did they really accomplish? And I think that would be quite powerful. That would give you enough to talk about in 40. Like, so let's say the first, it's a 45-minute talk, I believe. The first 15 minutes is just kind of like the setup. Like, here's what it is, and then the middle part is, here are the case studies. This is what it is. Why should you care? Let me give you some real tangible examples that you can relate to. And then the third part is, okay, now you got the example. What can you do starting today? And that would be the now what. Like, what do I do? Now okay, I'm excited. I like this. What do I do now? How do I use this? So what do you think of that type of structure? Is that something you had in mind?
Well, that sounds really good. Did I have it in mind? No. No, I really, like I said, grateful for your input, because I tend to meander, but here's what I have footage. One of the topics that the past 4 years that I really got passionate about was the underbanked, people who take out multiple payday loans. So they live, they have 10 payday loans at one time, and they have good jobs. They're postal workers. They're cleaning the bathroom at LAX airport. They have somebody who works at UC California as an assistant librarian. I mean, these are people that have real jobs, getting paid well. They can take out multiple payday loans, and they get themselves in trouble. So this became a passion. So the reason I'm telling this story is that I have footage of these people talking. I have footage, I have clips and everything of people doing this exercise where I would ask them, how does it feel to be in debt? And I would show them a bunch of pictures. And, I expected they'd pick a picture like a sinking ship, maybe even a roulette table that they're gambling with their lives. Those are kind of literal. But I had no access to what it's like to live their life. Yet I'm trying to interview them to find out, what is it like being in this kind of debt? You've got a good job, you've got a family, you're living, paycheck to paycheck, and you're always behind, you're taking out these multiple payday loans. What is it like to live like that? Now I can ask them, but when I show them a picture, I access a whole new realm. For instance, somebody picked a picture of a factory on blowing steam up, and they said that's how they felt about being in debt. And I'm like, what in the world, does that have to do with being in debt? And so then you probe, and the woman says she worked at Target. I work and I work and I work and I work. I am that factory. I'm working hard, but I'm not getting anywhere. The factory's not going anywhere. So, to me, that accessed a whole element of what it's like to be in debt that I would never really understand. Another picture was a picture of a bunch of paper clips all over the table. What does that have to do about being in debt? Well, it had to do with the fact that she feels her life is so cluttered. She can't think straight because she's got so many things going on because she has all these payday loans she has to run and pay off every 2 weeks. Anyway, so I do have examples of how this access certain parts of their lives. One thought I did have was to show them pictures, the ones that I use. They're just, and show them and ask them, pose them a question, to say, okay, and then ask them to pick out like a picture about how it feels to be in debt. And because these people probably do not live in that realm that these payday people live in, that they would probably pick certain pictures. And then I would have them tell me why they picked what they picked, and that would be giving me access to how they think about being in debt. And then I can show them what people that are in the underbanked population, what pictures they picked, and how that is so different. And that if they, as market researchers that are white-collar workers that maybe have their debt is like a mortgage, and they're living pretty nicely, how can they go out and research people in the underbanked world?
Right.
How do they even know the questions to ask?
Right. I think that what I just saw there, the passion that you show, I think if you can replicate that on the stage, I think that will resonate. I think you have a very good story, okay? Based on what you just told me, I think you need to watch this video, because the way you just described that here's what these people do, and I have a way of getting that information out, and unless you can do that, you're not going to be successful. So I think you're on the right track as far as the stories are concerned. You may need to shorten it. So here's what we suggest. I think you have a message. Julie, you would agree, right? She has a message, that there is something that she has here
Great message.
that can help these people improve what they're doing. Because remember, the people are marketing. We have to look at from audience. The audience are marketing research professionals, and they want to know how what she's saying is going to help them. And I think if you watch this video, Catherine, the way you just described that example, the people that you were interviewing, if you can somehow bottle that and bring it on stage, people are going to resonate that you are very passionate about this subject, and do it exactly like the way you just did it with us. You don't want. I know that when you take it from talking to us, you can do that somehow. I don't know. We have a way of bringing things out of people, but you need to bring that on the stage. So I think the next thing what we would recommend you do is turn this into like an abbreviated version of your 45-minute speech. If you can just do like a 10 to 15-minute speech and record that, and then you can come on and we can give you feedback, and that will give us a pretty good idea. You don't need to go into a lot of details, but just enough of it, like just some of the kind of questions that people asked with the passion that you just showed. So again, if you use that structure, what, so what, and now what, and I think based on what you just showed us, I think you have the passion, you have the knowledge. You just need to practice that and organize your speech, and I think you'll do a great job, because I think you have a lot here. I think you just need to just keep practicing, and I think you'll do a wonderful job when you're in front of that audience, because I think you have a lot here. We're just going to try to help you to package it so that in 45 minutes you can get the maximum out of that, because otherwise, like you said, you probably want to say a lot and you're going to run out of time and it'll be not balanced. So we're going to try to see how we can balance this talk so you got the content in a nice organized way, so that the audience says, oh, this makes sense, because the structure will make a difference for a speech like this. So at this point, Julie, do you any closing thoughts, any suggestions before we let Catherine go? And then, like I said, the next step would be when she's ready, record a 10 to 15-minute talk, and then that'll give us more of an idea on how to look at the speech. Because right now we didn't comment on this 3-minute because that was just to capture the message. But the part that will help you is if you put together a 10 to 15-minute speech, then we can critique the speech specifically.
Yes, thanks, Jay. Yeah, I actually just coach on somebody giving an hour-long speech, and she's consultant combining leading-edge nutrition with body-mind processes, and it went really, really well. So the first thing I suggested is connect with the audience. And it's perfectly okay to share a personal story of your passion, because that just kind of connect you, your topic, and the audience. And the other thing is, try to, when I listen to you, I hear your message. Now, Michael Port is one of the leading speakers. He says it's okay to speak fast. But when you speak fast, you have to make sure you pause, because that's the time for them to take in the message. I get your rhythm is naturally a fast speaker, so I invite you to use the tools of repetition and pausing to clarify your speech. And then in your speech, I never got the definition what it was. So tell me what it was, and then at the end, definitely like Jay says, now what? Like, call me at this number so I can share more information with you. Something like that. Maybe you put in something that they could know. And then in preparation, make sure you have a sign-up sheet so people can give you their emails so they can connect, so you can contact them. Because that was her mistake. She didn't have a list to contact, so that's your prep work. That includes the prep work, okay?
Yeah, no, Julie, those are excellent points, and I'll have Catherine give a closing comments before we let her go. Here's the thing. We don't want to overload you with a lot of information, Catherine, because it's the first time you're coming in. We like to help. So I would just, like I said, I think you have the message. Now, I think if the speech gets big, what you do is just break it into small parts. So let's say if you have 3 stories from your experience that you just described to us, you may want to pick out, like, what are the 3 stories that'll get the point across, right? Because you have to look at it from the audience's point of view. So identify 3 stories that will really capture the message. Because remember, you got the message. Now you got to explain to them how they're going to understand that message. And then that last part, now you have to describe it. Here are some of the things that you can do. This validity test, the interviewing skills. Here's how you extract the information. So if you can just focus on that, and if you can put together a 10-15, because it's kind of hard to go into a speech because we didn't really see a speech, right? We just saw kind of a message video. But if you can make it make it appear formal, like 10 to 15 minutes in front of a camera standing up, then we'll be able to critique the speech specifically. Because it's a big difference, okay, when you're talking like in a networking session, and then when you're giving a formal speech. Because remember, when you're recording it, you're not going to be using any kind of a clip of video. You're going to have to use your words when we're evaluating it. So I know when you're in front of an audience, so you're going to have to practice 2 ways. But when you're recording for us, it's just you directly talking to the camera, which is going to be different than when you're talking in front of an audience. So, but this 15-minute video will tell us a lot on exactly how you're progressing as far as your speech is concerned. So any closing comment, Catherine? I know we've given you a lot of information, so you're probably running.
When is this going to be posted within a day or so on the Coursera site so I can watch it? Okay. I had something Julie said that I didn't quite understand. So Julie, when I re-listen to it, can I just send you a note by email? You asked to clarify something you said because I've already forgot what it was. Okay. And then my other question is, and I really am struggling with the structure. I mean, I have all this information in my head, and I just don't know how to get it down. So I really appreciate your helping me. But do you think I should do an example where I show them pictures and I have them relate to it, and then show them what underbanked people, their response was, so they get an idea how it access a population that's different than themselves?
You can expect. Oh, I'm hearing an echo. You can. There is no way to know which one is going to work. You're just going to have to experiment and see which one you feel comfortable with. Because I don't want to say try this, try that, because until you see it, what you may want to do is record both speeches. Try one method first, try the other method first, so then we can see, okay, this works for us, or at least you get some feedback. You know what I'm saying? That this works because I get the point. What I'm looking for here is this. If you're speaking, if I want to know more, I'm going to hire you or I'm going to come talk to you. But when you're giving a speech, I want to get the main idea so that I can go and explain to somebody else that, hey, you missed out that excellent talk that Catherine gave about this metaphor elicitation. She has this unique way of extracting this information, man. Only if we could figure this out, we could do such a great job. And the other thing I'll point out is that these are market research. I think it would help if you can show how this actually improved the performance of something. So there's like a before and after. Otherwise, they'll think like, oh, not another idea that's going to go nowhere. So I think you want to be careful there too. So at this point, what I'll do is, Julia, I think, do you have any departing words for Catherine? Okay. So Catherine, we want to thank you for appearing, and if you can, communicate with us, and we'll certainly do our best to make sure that you're the best speaker at this event. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot. So let's take a pause. And I will then introduce the
so
next.
Jay, we spent about 50 minutes on this. So
I'll separate that out from the others. Okay.
Well, what I'm going to suggest is I can do the plow or the snail the next week. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So then you want to just get to the second segment. Okay. Then we'll
just skip the second segment and then do yours.
All right. So let's take a brief pause and then.
Because it's not just time; it's just I only have so much energy.
Oh, right.
So thank you for understanding.
Okay, welcome to Speech Talk Live. My name is Jay Oza, and my co-host is Julie Wu Finkelstein, and we're going to move to one more segment since the workshop took much longer. Next time, I'll anticipate that it is going to take about an hour. So in this next segment, we're going to try to talk about, and it's kind of applicable. So let's say you want to give a speech. What do you do? A lot of people get hung up on the structure, right? I think the first thing you want to focus on is the message, because if the message isn't there, then it's just empty words. People can't connect it like how it applies to them. So you got to know what the message is. You control the message. And I think when you first get on the video camera, don't worry about like, oh, do I have, is it compare and contrast, or is it problem and solution? I think you just get on camera and make it simple for yourself. And one of the rules that Julie always uses, a technique she calls the sandwich technique, is if you don't want to spend a lot of time, trying to figure this out. What you do is just tell them what you're there to tell them, then tell them, and then just tell them what you just told them. That's the old reliable, it works. And the other one is the one that I just suggested to Catherine in this first segment that we did, is the common one that applies in most business settings. It is, what exactly are you telling them? What is the insight or some idea that you have come up with? Okay, so now let's say you did that. You gave them the idea or the insight. The next part is, okay, so what's the big deal about this idea? Why should I care? Why should I pay attention? That's what the audience is asking. They're not going to tell you that, but that's what they're thinking. That's your job. So you got to tell them why they should care. So that's the so what. Once you do that, the third part is, okay, I got it. Now, what do I do with all that information? So that's the now what part. And it's important you do that, because if you don't, then there is no takeaway. It's just all you did was you just informed, but the audience can't do anything with it. So that's a good organization. And you can do that in a first, because that's something you can jot down on a paper pretty quickly. Here's the what, here's the so what, and here's the now what. Then just get in front of the camera. And since it's the first time you're recording it, you just speak from your heart. Speak from what you know. You don't need any script for that. You don't need to write down notes. Once you have it down and let it go, I mean, nobody's timing you. This is not official. Then you can view it, and believe me, you'll find out a lot. For most of the time, what you've recorded will be pretty good. But then from that, you'll get an idea on what's working, what you can make better. So that's what I use. I know that, Julie, you use this, or let me just ask you, when you get in the front of the camera, what do you use? Do you like spend a lot of time doing an outline, or you just come up with like, okay, what do you want to tell them, and write down some points there? Then here's what I'm going to tell them, and then you say, okay, now at the end conclude with that. So what do you use when you're first making that first recording?
Well, thanks, Jay. Yeah, I think that it's a really great question. It's the first recording. It really depends on how familiar I am with the topic. So, for example, with the plow techniques, with the stretches, I started off just talking, and then I got comfortable, and then I started doing outlines. Actually, not outlines. I use your hack technique, and then and now what I do is because I know that book topic so well, I will do a quick outline because I know the ideas I want, and I will talk about it. But I'm also writing the book, so I'll go back and write based on writing version of your hack technique, which is I start with the several sentences, and then I move back to one sentence. I go back to the tagline, and then I go back and write 3 paragraphs. And then instead of using outline, I'll just talk spontaneously. So I think that partly what you're saying, for like a brand new beginner, and this is your first video, it's really good to have what you call I really like the what, so what, and now what kind of drivers that kind of keep things to pace. Yeah, you can also tell them what you're going to tell them, which is like the background too. And then I'm going to tell you about the stretch, and it's important because it brings health. All the details of the stretch will be what I tell them. And then in conclusions, tell them why the stretch is important, and then I take your action plan of what to do it. But in addition to that, I am working with, I'm coaching and partnering with people in various projects. And now I give them assignments that instead of, sometimes they have to get things done. So I'm asking them to do a video of their project. So this musician, he's writing music. But in order to sell his music to the world at large, he hopes to be interviewed. So I'm giving him questions. So actually, by you doing the videos, he's honing his communication skills, and someone else is writing a book. And so I think that this is going to be a tool I use to help people as an investigation to clarify their missions. At the same time, they'll be honing the communication skills. So it's your video doesn't directly tie to that, but I think there's a corollary to that. So that's thank you for that.
Yeah, that's good feedback. Yeah, I think the reason I made this video is partly because of something that somebody had said that I can't. I don't know what kind of presentation structure to use and all of that, right? And what I was saying was that forget the presentation structure. You haven't even recorded the first video yet. And this is an iterative process, right? We call it like the lean speech method or whatever. And what that means is that it's sort of like free writing. You heard of that, right? Free writing, when somebody says, okay, I don't know what to write. I have a writer's block. Well, you don't have a writer's block. You just basically start writing and just fill up a paper. I mean, I tell my son that every day you come from school, there's a lot of things that happened that day. There's a lot of words that went into it, all the visuals that you saw all day. That can be communicated in words. Just sit down and start writing it. Like I went to this class, I learned this, I learned that. And I said, if you can't fill up 10 pages, that means you probably, weren't even paying attention to anything. So when people say that I don't know what to write, that's not really true. You just don't want to write or write about anything. Write about like what we just did. We just had a 1 hour, a 45-minute session with Catherine. There's a lot you can write from that. And say that same thing applies when it comes to speaking. So if you want to give a speech, but you need some what's the word I'm thinking of? Like a minimal viable outline, right? MVP, MVO, I guess. And that's the structure, right? Like the sandwich technique or this what technique. That gives you something. Once you have that, then start talking. It's not going to be perfect, okay? That's not the purpose of this. But you got to get that first video. It'll give you a lot of confidence that, oh, I got it now. It just makes you feel good. You created a product. That's a product. You just productize it. It's probably not going to be good. You're never going to release it. Nobody's ever going to see it. But you got it done. You got something to work with. And that's the main point of it, that it's important, like what you just suggested, Julie, that some of the people that you coach with, is to get them to record that first video and just say, here's the structure I want you to use. And you got to give them the questions. What exactly are you talking about? Why should I care? So what? And what do I do with all that information? And if they can just talk that way for at least 5 minutes, or even, well, in the beginning, it may not even be that long. But if you can just get them to record a video and send it to you, then you have really made a big leap as far as their ability to speak, giving a speech is concerned. So, Julia, thanks a lot for your feedback. Any closing thoughts?
No, thank you. This was a very interesting program, and I have to go back and watch it again.
Yeah. So tell me exactly how this went. I mean, I haven't. This is still part of the show because I think this is the first time we have actually done a live workshop. And one thing I'm realizing is that it takes a lot longer than I anticipated. I thought that 30 minutes would be fine, but now I'm realizing that anytime you do a workshop, it's going to take the entire show. That's what I'm thinking. That my estimates were way off. It's like an IT project. My budget just got shot. That didn't come under budget, didn't come under time, and well, I don't know.
No, it's under time. We're going to close in 1 minute, and that will be an hour.
Oh, no, the time that I had estimated for the first segment, 30 minutes, and it turned out, and and you realize that part of giving a speech, and that's another thing I realized, that the first session shouldn't even be about anything. I think the messaging part that we started with, so this is another thing I just learned from watching this, that when you bring first time somebody on the show, don't even worry about the messaging. Let's get them to talk about their speech and what they want to communicate, because we were kind of flying blind a little bit. And that's what I want to try to avoid in the future, that the first session should just be getting them to talk about their speech. And then after that, see if we can get them to work on the message. Once they got the message, then move on to a short, like a 7 to 10 minute speech and kind of take it from there. So I think this was kind of very useful that I learned. And one thing I realized that when it comes to workshop, whatever time you're giving, double that. Because that's that. It's hard because people really get into it, right? And you really don't know, because you don't want to cut it short and saying, okay, I think our half hour is done. And perhaps when we do a workshop, maybe the other segments we should not even do, because there are a lot of questions that come up.
That's a great idea. Right, okay, right. Thank you.
All right. So at this point, Julie, thanks a lot. I'm going to close out the show. So I want to thank all of you for watching this episode 49. It was a little different than what we've done in the past, as we've introduced a new segment, a new format, which is an STL workshop. So if you're watching this, and if you have a speech that you're giving in front of an audience that you already have scheduled, hopefully, you've given a lead time of at least 6 weeks, and let us know. And if there's anything we can do to help you, give you some guidance, and you want to come on the show to discuss it, we'd be happy to work with you. Again, like I said, we do this show once a week. So if you have a speech, let us know as early as possible so we can fit you into the schedule. Because what we do, this is a lot of work, okay? So if you don't come on the show, it's pretty expensive. So I just want to let you know that here's an opportunity you have if you're taking a Coursera course to take advantage of this. And both Julie and I have been doing this for quite some time. And and as you just saw, if you saw with Catherine, just having somebody to talk to regarding a speech who just focuses on the speech can make a tremendous difference when you're getting in front of an audience. And it's better to get this discussed with somebody like us than to get on the stage and your speech bombs, because you're not going to get a second chance. So again, you are how you speak, and this is something you control. And if you work on it starting today and every day, it's a lifetime effort. And if you haven't started, start now, because you will need it. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode, number 50. That's a wrap. Julie, you got to take a break?
Yeah, then let's spend like till 11:30, okay?
Yeah. I have to take a quick break. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, yeah, great, thanks. Okay.
All right, Julie, thanks a lot. I have to view this workshop again, because that's a format. That's a format that it's going to come up, and I need to figure out what's the best way to do it. But I think what I just learned is that, okay, so let me update you on the book.
Okay.
I got the 4th draft out. I am going to, so here's what I'm thinking. I have to set up a call with that woman. And what I'm going to do in that first call is, I have never spoken to her, so I'm going to kind of just take it like myself. And I'm going to record it, and then I'll send you the video link to take a look at, okay?
Okay. I would suggest that you ask her to spend 15 minutes before the pay call, so that you get extra 15 minutes of stuff.
She's been very responsive when it comes to email and stuff. So and in fact, what I may do is, because her background is in marketing, so the part that I'm interested in marketing is very important. So she's kind of going to give me, like, all I need to know are the steps involved. That's what I care about the book, right? Mm-hmm. So that can be taken care of. Her specialty is in marketing. So if she can give me some good take, and if it's half hour, then it'll be half hour, and then I can schedule the other half hour later on. Because because right now my top priority is to get the book done. But what she's saying is also important, that you have to also start thinking about how are you going to market the book. So I said, yeah, I agree, but I hadn't thought about doing it till I had the book done. So I need to hear from her what she's suggesting. Since that's her expertise. And she told me that my expertise really is in marketing. But I said, at the same time, you work with people in publishing. I'll see how it goes. If it doesn't go well, if it looks like there's nothing there I'm getting out of it, then I won't work with her again.
Okay.
So I sent you the 4th draft. This 4th draft, I went pretty much line by line, and I know I could have done a better job, but I had to get it done because I wanted to send it to this Nancy, so that she could take a look at it. So here's what I was thinking, Julie. The title of so the book really has 4 parts, right? After the introduction.
Okay.
After the introduction, the book has 4 parts. The first part, and I don't know, you'll have to take a look at the table of contents and see.
Yeah, it's been a while.
The first part is, just look at the table of contents. You don't need to look at the entire book. The first part is kind of the overview of speaking. So that's part 1, okay? The second part is, so this is what the difference, something I changed from the last time you and I spoke. The second part is development of public speaking skills, okay? So the second part is the development of public speaking skills. The third part is the development of a speech. And the fourth part is development of becoming a lifetime speaker. So I brought in the word development, which may or may not work, but at least for this go around, I'm using that. And if people come back and saying, no, actually, it's more of this, then I'll listen to it and see if that makes sense. So that's what I've done. Because when I looked at it, if somebody asked me, what is your book about? And I had to describe it, it's much easier for me to describe it and saying, oh, my book is about 3 parts. You know, it gives you an overview of speaking. It talks about that becoming a speaker, first you have to go through the development phase. Then you have to focus on specific speeches. So how do you develop a speech? And then the fourth part is how do you remain how do you development of becoming a lifetime speaker, which is what you were telling me was like maintenance. That's the word you used. So the maintenance word, I changed it to development, and I use the word like development of a lifetime speaker. What does that mean?
Yeah.
So take a look at it, and if you have any comments on that, let me know.
Okay.
So what else is going on? And then, and I think I sent you, as far as the forward, on how did you, like you were saying, outline, right? And there was a format that I sent you to see what you thought of that, like where you were, where you are now, and where you want to go.
Okay.
If that's a format that works for you, then you can start putting things in there. That where you were, put down, these are the like bullet points.
Can you send that to me?
I thought I did. I can send it to you again. I have to look for it.
I did not check my email this morning.
Yeah. So again, because I got that idea. I mean, this idea about what, so what, and now what. I picked it up from a business book. So it's been around for a long time. But a lot of businesses, that's the format they always tell business people to use, to go with that format. When you talk to people that are techie, always give them. Unless it's like if you're like in a sales presentation where you're trying to show why you're better than somebody else, then that would be a compare and contrast, right? But anyway, so that's where that came from. So what, so what, and now what? All business books have to be arranged like that. Otherwise, they don't sell. Otherwise, they don't even get published.
Okay.
So from that, I came up with this idea. I was listening to this guy. I think his name was Park Howell. And he was talking on this. I listen to a lot of podcasts because lately I got my iPhone and I just turn it on whenever I'm just like in a car or something. I just turn on my podcast. And he was talking to this woman. She has her own podcast called Baby You're Booked or something. She's an Indian woman. Her name is Nadkarni. I forgot her first name. I'll send it to that. I'll send it to you. And in there, he was saying that. So basically, like if you have to talk about it, and I said this is a good format for a forward. You always use a 3-act, right? Where you were, that could be where you were with your speaking, and then you can talk about some of the stuff that I put down. You can wordsmith it or completely rewrite it. Okay. Where are you now, and where do you want to go?
Okay.
So that's one format that may work for you because you like that structure. Now there's a structure there. So you can talk about, as far as what you had done, what was your speaking thing, and what is it now, right now? What are you doing right now? And that's where the now part is where a lot of the stuff you're doing with me comes in, that we're doing with Coursera and me. So my part comes into now, and that should kind of embolden you for the future. So there's an uplifting message to get other people saying, hey, listen, this is where I am now, and this is where I want to go. And thanks to this book, I know I can do it. Something like that.
Yes, I got it. Yeah, exactly.
So that's. Okay, I know we got another. What did you want to discuss? I know I've been taking up all the time, and the one thing I wanted to tell you, which we didn't get to do, we'll do next time. But I just want to tell you regarding your videos. The one thing I would say is keep this format in mind if this works for you. Yeah, have you heard of this format they call like the feel, do, know method? The feel, do, know.
No.
It's like what they. So I think in the talk, it's the know. This is what you need to know about this pose. And then you're going to tell them this is what you need to do. So the emphasis in the talk is the know part, right? So the know is the main part of the talk. Then you're going to kind of briefly describe them. Here's what I'm going to show you that I'm going to do. And this is how you're going to feel afterwards. Okay?
Okay.
So then when you get to the demo part, the short piece is the know part. That, as I've already discussed in the previous video, these are the things that you need to know. I'll just summarize it. Then the main part of that is the do part. That let me now show you. Here's what I'm going to do. So the do part is the main part in that. And then you can end it with, and now here's how you're going to feel after you do this. So I thought that it came. That's what I was going to discuss, but I thought it was important. So I thought let you discuss it now. That approach of the first one is know, do, feel, but amount of time you spend depends on what the emphasis is on. If the emphasis is on talk, then it's going to be know, but you still talk about what you're going to do, and then here's how you're going to feel. And the second one, just summarize what you talked about in the know part, but spend a lot of time on the do part, and then saying, okay, now I've done it, here's how you will feel if you do this. That way, so people get that. So the structure is there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, actually, I think my next, well, I have one more stretch to do, or one more pose to do. And then after that, I think what I like to do is basically put together a playlist and then do a video. I would do a video to summarize what the stretches mean. Kind of actually like either conclusion or overview, but then I can also do a video of what I learned about public speaking.
But that's a different. So there's a
it's
playlist.
A different video. It's a different
so
video.
Wait a second. So there's a playlist for the hacks, the energy hack.
For the stretches, right?
Yeah, that's one playlist. But there's another playlist you're planning to do on public speaking.
No, there's no playlist. I'm just going to do a video.
Because I've been putting a lot of new playlists together now. So like I have one on speech tip, that's a playlist. So that's like if somebody's going into that, they can get all of them from that one place.
Well, you're doing that. I don't really have that much great stuff. So whatever you have.
No, you do. You do have great stuff. According to Catherine, she really liked your feedback a lot.
Yeah, I'm really good at finding out what people's power is.
She's going to follow up with you. She's probably going to follow up with you because she really liked some of the things that you were suggesting. So definitely see how you could. Because what I want to do is I want her to give a speech. And
Wait, Jay, let me finish my point.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I didn't know that you were finished.
I wasn't finished because, okay, so I'm going to do a playlist of all the stretches. I want to do a video on a summary of the stretches. And then I want to do another video on what I learned about public speaking, the public speaking skills. And so that will be the new videos I'll do for our segments. I want to check that with you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
So this is going to be like more like what you learned from kind of doing the 330. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like now that I went through this for the last month or so, I don't know, more than a month.
Oh, more than a month.
Yeah, that would help. That would be very helpful. So so you're going to talk. So, but there's still one more video. Well, we still didn't do the 11.
Right.
So we still do the 11.
So we have number 11, 12. 11, 12, and then a summary video, and a video learning about what I learned about public speaking.
And Julie, another thing I'm thinking is, and this is up to you, it's optional whether you want to be part of it or not, but I think the workshop is going to have to be decoupled completely from the Speech Talk Live, because I don't think it works, because we have no way of controlling how long it's going to take.
Right. Right.
So next time, if I know you have a lot of other things to do, so if you're busy and you cannot make it on the workshop, I can understand it because I can only ask for like 1 hour of commitment from you once a week. But like if you want to be, so the workshop is optional. So don't think like, oh my God, I have to make it to this workshop. Workshop is something that I'm doing because I enjoy doing that. But I just want you to know because you're coaching other people and you have other activities going on with other things that you're doing.
Actually, yeah, I think I'll skip the workshops for now.
Yeah, so I think that's why I wanted to let you know because I know that because you have other things that takes up a lot of your time. So I don't want to. So I'll keep you up to date. And if I want any kind of feedback, but if I just wanted to let you know that workshop is completely optional for you. Okay. Only thing I want you to focus on is the speech. So that way, our Speech Talk Live kind of maintains that format that we like.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, by all means. Okay. Yeah, and then if you think, I'll keep the workshops optional. So this is my understanding. If I like to join you, I'm welcome. But you don't expect me to be there.
Right. I think the workshop would be the part where I think you can add the most value. I think in the beginning part, like I said, I record this, so you will have access to it, is when somebody wants to give a speech. Because if I work with somebody, right, like let's say Catherine, and Catherine now wants to give a speech or something, and I need another person to come in and give me some input so that you haven't been, see, once you get too involved in something, then you're biased. So I need a fresh.
Okay, so you really want me not to be part of the workshop unless you invite me. I just need to be clear.
Yeah, because I'm thinking that then I can get a totally different perspective. But if you're involved right from the beginning, then you are already like biased exactly on how that speech is going to be.
That's fine.
So I would think that that's one way of doing it. I'm not saying that is the way, okay? Because otherwise I would have to bring somebody else, and right now I don't know who else I can bring into this that could provide me that type of depth that you have.
Okay, so
Somian is like I can't get hold of him, and I can't count on him either. He's like a little flaky, so.
Yeah. So no, I just want to be clear. So it's really not optional. It's invitation only. Which is fine.
I'll leave that up to you because what I don't want is that if we have to manage two different schedules, because I have a feeling that sometimes the workshop may not fit into this time slot. So I just want to. We'll work it out.
Let's keep it this way. Invitation only for now. And if I want to join, I will request an invitation.
Yeah, but you'll be kept up to date on what's going on. So that way you know that, hey Jay, here's something, have you tried this and that? So that way you know exactly what's going on rather than like, hey, I didn't know, unless it's something proprietary, then that's it. But if it's related to something that I'm going to post, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
All right. So I think we're close to 11:30. Anything else?
Oh, no, that's great. Thank you.
All right, Julie. Hey, listen, I appreciate all your help. And sorry for the misunderstanding. And like I said, I'll send you that new format. And
no, I apologize. I overreacted. So
all right, no problem. That happens. That happens. I know that like once I promised you something and I was suddenly like suddenly went off the script there a little bit there. So.
Right. And I shouldn't take it as such a big deal. So.
Okay, so take a look at it. And so that's the format that like the.
Okay.
Where have you been? Where are you now? And where do you want to go? That's the format I want you to use.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
I'll look at what you got sometime next week. I'll look at the your table of contents sometime this week. Okay.
Yeah, right. All right, Julie. Thank you very much.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.